Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Wellness Group Tuesday. Today, I'm doing Facebook Live and YouTube Live, trying to see how I can make them more functional and more interactive to those of you who are interested and those. So, just trying to figure this thing out. So, bear with me today. Let's lay down the day. We're going to be talking about fasting, which is something that's very important. And of course, there's a lot of conflicting information out there in the public news. Mara Maria, how you doing? Peace. So we're going to discuss fasting today. We're also going to, of course, stream minute. There's one more subject matter that I didn't finalize last week for last week's program when we talked about milk. So I want to do that really quickly, and then we will, of course, get into your questions and all of your interaction. Shaolin Soldier, thank you, sir. Heart, may our minds be open for new information. May we have the strength to the Creator excuse my ego and get rid of my arrogance and use me as a vessel to, of course, be a conduit for good. Thank you for coming in. So let's get right to it. The mainstream media, I was, searching a few mainstream sites today, and the last couple of days, an excessive amount of information about losing weight and how to lose weight, and talking about these diets and these fad things, all this type of stuff. And I just wanted to make sure that I give you some balance, those of you who are attempting a health journey, because it's relative for me to think that the average person, with as little information as we are taught in our so-called education about health, it's very difficult to manage a lot of the information that is on social media, is on the internet. And so I would just say to all of you that are struggling with your weight, have had difficulties over the year, you do a diet, you gain it back, you go through these ups and downs with yourself, and start looking at it as more of a long than some of these things that they pose. And like, this celebrity or this movie star or this singer lost 80 pounds in 4 weeks. Well, there's a lot that goes into losing weight like that. And sometimes some of these people that have a lot of money, they have a lot more than we do. T. Farrell, Renee, thank you all for coming in. So, if you every day to work with your trainer a couple times a week, and you had the money to afford a chef, and you don't have to 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day, it would be easier for you to lose weight. I want you all to look at as a health journey. If you were 18 or 19 and you were at a weight that you could say, you like, or you like the way you look, and now you're 40, 50, and you weigh 100, 150, sometimes 200 pounds more than that, you shouldn't be trying to get rid of all that weight by the end of this summer. It's not realistic. It's not healthy. And if you do something fast like that, the likelihood is that you haven't learned enough how to keep from gaining weight. You haven't learned enough about life, and the likelihood is that you'll gain it back. Date on this person, but look at Oprah over the years. Oprah can afford all of these things that we're talking about, and we've seen Oprah lose a lot of weight but she to continue to gain it right back. So that's a perfect example. Again, I'm not trying to demean her. I'm not trying to throw shade on her, but she has been a public figure that we have watched over the years gain weight, lose it, try this show, have a show about it. Everybody's talking about it. Then she gains the weight back. Well, you should try to do something. First, evaluate why you gain the weight, why you keep the weight, and then slowly make the changes. And please don't believe these very rigorous exercises to lose weight. Most of you just have to activate your lifestyle. What do I mean by that? Stop parking next to the door when you go to Walmart. Stop parking next to the grocery store. Stop taking an elevator 2 flights or 3 flights. Those are things right there that you could add a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 steps a day just with those few activities. If you work out in your neighborhood, don't drive to the park, don't drive to the workout center, walk to it. That's your warm up and your cool down. So there are plenty of things that we can do. And the thing that I want to mention that probably makes a sense, but most people is that you really don't have to do, just walk. But while you're walking, don't, walk like you're on a stroll. Walk and get your breath up a little bit, move your arms, but you don't need to do anything more than walking as an exercise routine. That works just about the entire body, improves your metabolism. That as long as you're continuing to work on the eating habits and managing your fat, you can lose just as much weight just walking as people that go out here and do all these extensive exercise routines that it's impossible for you to maintain because it's too hard, it's rigorous. You wind up getting injuries. You're too tired sometimes. But even when you're tired, if you go out for a walk, you'll get energized in your walk. So that's Mainstream Minute today. I hope information, a little more empowerment to, it takes time for your health journey to manifest itself. So let's stay within healthy means in our mind as well as in our activity so that we have a realistic way of solving our problems. So to the subject of today, we are discussing fasting. And before I get into very, very subject, I'm going to try to condense it down to this hour and make a lot of sense. Char Branch, thank you for coming in. She says exercise will save your life. Absolutely. Exercise is very important. And by the way, you mention that because all of you who listen to these people who eat certain foods to improve your metabolism, there is absolutely scientifically, you only increase your metabolism by the movement of the body. The more you move, the more your metabolism goes up. A food is to serve as fuel for your metabolism. Metabolism is a mixture, meaning build up, and which means break down. So every day our body builds and breaks down to maintain, take away dead things, take away things that don't work that well, build new things and fix things. That's catabolism and anabolism. That makes up metabolism. It doesn't change that reality. Exercise, activity is what increases the metabolism. So I wanted to throw that caveat out there because there are a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of falsity out here, and some of it is being done on purpose. And when it's done on purpose, of course, it's a lie. So again, I'm here to give you news on your health journey. So let's get into the subject. Fasting, good or is it not good? And of course, like everything else out here, there's information that says fasting is good, saying fasting is not. And so just to start off, I would say anybody that says fasting is not good, number one, probably has never done it. Number two, about the positive things about fasting. And again, what I want to base this on is something superior. Now, it doesn't make a difference whether you call God or some derivative of the word God in another language, or whether you say the creator, or whether you say the universe, or whatever it is that you use as your statement of what created these human beings and all of the nature that we see. Something very wise produced these. And one of the things that makes me know that fasting is absolutely wonderful is because I've seen animals. I was young, I had dogs. As a family, we had, and we will watch a dog eat grass for a couple of days, watch a cat eat grass. And we know cats and dogs don't eat grass, but they'll eat grass, they'll not eat for a few days. And next thing you know, they're looking sick, of course, when they're doing this. And then next thing you know, they're back to their normal activity. So that's proof right there. And then when you try it yourself, you'll see so many benefits, which I'm going to get to at. But I just wanted to debunk these people out here that are saying that fasting, because some of the toxins that are in can cause damage to you when it's coming out. use some common sense, right? I'm the common sense man when it comes to health, unlike some of these people that write these articles and some of these people out here making all this money. But if something is in your body, and if your body starts working on trying to get it out, if damage, isn't it common body is causing you damage while it's in your body? It doesn't make much sense that you would want to keep something that damages you in you versus getting it out. Now, the second part of this is that there are a lot of people. Tawana, my wife is on. Thank you, baby, for coming in. There are a lot of talk about these fasts, and you need to do oil pulling. So it's drinking these large amounts of oil that's supposed to pull toxins out of your body. And you shouldn't fast without doing supplements. If you're not taking supplements, your fast probably won't work well. These are liars. These are people that do things for money solely. And to defeat the argument that I'm setting out today, and let me take that back. They will not be able to defeat the presentation that I'm putting out here today. Because when people say things like that, they're talking from a perspective. Now, why am I saying that? Well, let's go to the infamous anatomy book. And for those of you on YouTube Live, I'll show you the pictures too. So here is a picture of the GI system. Oops, I'm sorry. Shouldn't be dropping the phone while I'm doing live, right? But anyway, we have a picture of the organs that are put in our bodies by this superior mind, whatever you want to call it. There is the liver. Now, the skin, of course, which covers all of that we're looking at in that picture, right? The skin is the largest organ of the body. But when it comes inside the body, somebody could argue and say, if you put all the intestines together, that's the largest organ. Okay, that's fine. But when we're one body, the liver is considered the largest organ of the body. Now, seeing that picture and thinking from the perspective that what produced these wonderful bodies produced the largest independent organ toxifies you, then can you honestly say that there's something that man can produce or something that man can produce that can do that's more able than? I would argue against that. And then the other thing that we need to do, and there's just another look at the liver. I'll do this for those on YouTube Live. That right there is the liver, largest organ in the body. Put your hand on the right side of your body, approximately there. Approximately here. That is where your liver starts. And your liver goes up and slides around towards the side, towards the back. So it's a large organ. Purpose is to manage that so it can be eliminated out of the body. So that is a beautiful organ. And there is no substitute that we can find. Nothing can substitute for what that organ does. So these people that are out here to telling you to do oil pulling, their next organ system that I want us to take a look at is the lymph system. See, that's the lymph and immune system. And all of those purple things that you see are your lymph vessels. So any of you that have ever seen a picture of blood vessels in the body, it looks like that, okay? So we literally have lymph vessels that run right alongside blood vessels. And when you are looking at blood vessels, you have all of these type of immune cells in there. So you see memory cells, killer T cells. You have macrophages. You have T cells, phagocytosis, phagocytes. These immune cells that are in the blood. These are all the immune cells, other things from the body and then put them into that lymph system so that lymph system can of the body. So it's very important for us to understand, and this is just a more microscopic picture. If you look at this right here would be your red blood cells right there, your red blood cells that come out of your capillaries. These are all your immune cells here. If you look at all these cells, it's just depictions of different immune cells. These are the bacteria and other stuff that's formed. These are just another pictures of those other ones that we showed. All of this is your immune system. And so it's now that are proving that when a person goes on a 3-day fast, you will replace every single solitary one of these blood cells that we're just discussing. All of that compromise that make up your immune cells, the T cells, the memory cells, the helper sites, every single one are 100% reproduced in a 3-day fast. So 3-day fast, you replace all your blood cells, meaning your red blood cells, all your white blood cells, which are those cells that I just mentioned, and your plasma cells. So everything in your blood system, which is the composition of your immune system, 3 days. Heck, could somebody say that fasting when the immune system is the basis for all improvement in the body? If you tear something, if you break something, if something in your body is not working correctly, it is the immune system that moves around the body and finds what's wrong. That's the immune system. So it is replenished in 3 days. What kind of sense is it that somebody who calls themselves a health guru would say that fasting is bad? Again, they either have not done it, haven't done any research, or they're just using that lie so that as they propaganda that you can't fast correctly without their product. So that's not good information. I don't know what happened to my messages. Where did they go? Okay, well, I hope I get it back. I'm going to go ahead and move on into the next aspect of this wonderful brain. Have found for sure in my fasting is that not only do I feel better after fasting, I look better. I look in the mirror and it looks like I actually digressed. My brain is clear, my vision is clear, everything gets better. Yes, it's difficult. When I first started fasting, I would get these real bad headaches. What does that mean? The sinuses are cleaning a lot of stuff out of your bloodstream. I would have, of course, a lot of snot in my nose. Your breath smells bad. This is a cleansing process. That's what you should expect. Some people get a lot of body aches. Some people are real tired. All aspects of fasting that is part of the process. And they get better as you detoxify your body. As you get more and more toxins out, as you continue to do your fasting, you will get better and better at fasting because it's difficult at first, but you also will feel better. Your body will back to some of those difficult. So let's go to some other pictures because I want to get into very specifics of what fasting is doing in the body as I just did, but in another system. Here is your brain. Here's the cerebrum, or of what in humans is larger than any other animal, processing, storage of memory. That green portion right there is what we call the corpus callosum, which is how the left side and the right communicate and correlate everything and put all information where it needs to be. Cerebellum, that is your, and this right here is considered midbrain or the primitive brain. All our animal instincts or hunger or anger or sleepiness, all these type of things that we do that is the same as the animals. So it's this part here that differentiates us from the animals. That is the, okay. So let me show this to the YouTube live, callosum and the cerebellum right there for the balance. So when we think about our brain and we think about our immune system, then we have to go a little further in depth. Okay, here is another picture of a nerve cell. Saying the other day, I was talking about all the extensor legs. But if you've ever seen a picture of a cell on the internet, all cells of all different organ parts of the body look the same, but there are a few things that are specialized about it. You won't see this in a liver or a muscle cell. You won't in an intestine cell. You see that part out there? That's what we protect our nerves with, that sheath that goes over top of it. Okay. And so when we take this picture and then we go a little more microscopic, we start looking at something like that. And so they neuron, with meaning that's going in one way, a bipolar way, and multiple different ways. All right. Now, why am I showing this? Here, we're looking at what we call neurogenesis. And neurogenesis happens mostly when? Fasting, early morning, and during fasting. Neuro means nerve, genesis means to produce or remake. Now, your cells, all those with those little, I always say that you could kind of think about how nerves look in the body, like being in a helicopter and going up, 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 up as you continue to go early, looking down on all the highways and all the byways and all the streets. And as you keep going up and up and up, you start seeing more and more and more highways. Farther out, you can see them. Well, that's what. But what those little cells, those little light looking cells, the rest of it looks a little greenish or grayish. And those other cells are what? They're repairing the nerve fibers. Studied that when a person is fasting, that's when this process occurs mostly. So anybody that's talking negative about fasting just hasn't done enough research, or again, like I said, they're just lying to do what? To support some product that they're trying to sell you. So if somebody has a product that they're trying to sell you, they're probably going to lean towards selling you the product to make that money more than they are. I hope that makes sense to you all, because as you know, most of what I do is free. Now, if you want a personal visit, of course, that is something that you have to get with me on. But in general, most of the information that I give is free. There's another picture I wanted, because I wanted to show you a picture of the spleen, because that is the organ of the body that is part of cleaning the blood. Because, you know, you hear a lot of these so-called health people out here talking about, do this to cleanse your blood, do that to cleanse your blood, take this substance or that substance, or this herb or that herb, or you got to drink this or drink that again, like these oil pullings and all these supplements and all that kind of stuff. An organ that is specifically to take all of the old cells out of your bloodstream while you're pumping your blood. It takes all of the old cells, all the damaged cells, whether they be red blood cells, white blood cells, doesn't make a difference. It takes all of those cells out of the body and allows your body, with that message, send to the bloodstream and say, we need you to make these type of cells to replace what we just finished taking out. And that is your spleen. I'm looking for the picture. If y'all can give me just a second, because I lost my page. Where is it? Again, we're talking about the spleen. So all of your cells that move around your body every day doing the work that they do, they get damaged. There are what we call turbulence. So as your bloodstream is pumping, moving around, let's say that you're doing some type of physical activity or you bump into something. Well, when you do that, the reason why you cause a bruise is because that blood vessel was damaged and you get some out of that bust a blood vessel and bleed. That's a real dark bruise, right? Well, when that happens, the bloodstream has been affected and some of those cells have been damaged. And so here is a picture of your spleen. People think about a spleen when they talk about sickle cell anemia. That's it right there. It sits a little right here. Your stomach is right in this area, and the pancreas, it sits right over to the left side of your body from those organs that I just mentioned. And so as you're doing your daily activities of life and you damage some of them are just getting old. And think about it, the average red blood cell lives about 3 months, white blood cell lives about 3 months. So you're reproducing all these cells. All of the cells in your body are not the same age. So you're making some red blood cells today, you made some white blood cells today, you made some to replace them that are old. But what happens when you do a 3-day fast is you actually cells. And so your immune system is on high alert when you finish a fast to do what? To go, well, all these brand new cells, all these lively cells going in the body, looking at what it can fix. Because fasting is giving the body a sense of rest on a totally different level. Most people are very, very sedentary. Most of us have sedentary lives. And so when you are most of the time, you have to actually get up and start moving around. As you activate the body, everything that's part of the body starts to be activated. So your immune system is this, you are sedentary, the less it has the ability to be activated. And you have an active lifestyle, your immune system is at its peak ability. It has the ability to keep you from getting affected from anything. You know, some of you have heard me talk about how long it's been since I've been sick, how many years it's been sick. When I started eating and following the teachings of how to eat to live on a regular basis, I'm around sick people on a regular basis, and I just don't get sick. So that's something that you have to work on. Now, think about this. If the majority of America, and in fact are sedentary workers, sedentary people, you get up in the morning, sit down at a table, more than likely, and eat, or you sit down in your car and you sit down, you come back home and you sit down, that portion of the entire society in this country. So when that person is also eating bad food, you're getting colds, you go to work and somebody's sick, and next thing you know what? The whole office is sick because the immune system at its peak. When your immune system there's not a bacteria, not a virus, not a fungus that can cause you disease, not yeast. We're talking about yeast infections and athlete's foot in people and athletes happen in a person with an immune system that is at its. And what I'm saying is that when you put your lifestyle in check, meaning that you put the right foods in your body, you're drinking enough water, you know how to hydrate yourself, which is different from drinking water, and you know how to activate your lifestyle, and you get enough rest, your immune system cannot be beat in nature. Think about that. The bacteria that was made by the same creator that made the earth, made us, and made all, he didn't make a bacteria or a virus or a fungus that could kill you. He didn't do it. Your immune system will stop all of that when your immune system is in its right phase. So that takes all that right food, that exercise, that sleep, that hydration, and you have to fast. We live in a very toxic, not only food, but the air. Sometimes you go out and you see these planes and they're leaving these trails, and then you look at it later and it looks like it's spread out and looks like a cloud now. The majority of the days that we go outside and we look, those aren't real from those chemtrails. We take showers, poisons, and we spray things like, you walk in some people's homes and they have the things in the wall that makes it smell nice, and they spray Fabuloso or Febreze and these things. Well, have you ever read the chemicals that are in those things? But they're toxic to your body. I'm not saying it. I'm saying that when you start, the body is accumulating toxins every day, all day, with all the things that you do. And if you drive to and from work, all the exhaust that you're smelling. If you live in a place like Houston, there's a lot of environmental pollution from what? All of the oil that bad air is all over the Houston area. When you go to places like Southern California is a basin between all these mountains and the water. So you can fly into Southern California sometimes and you see this big old layer of dark smoke all over the area. That's smog. So when it comes to car produced pollution, Southern California is worse in this country. And when it comes to environment, Houston has some of the worst air in this country. So if you live in those areas, and other places have a lot too, I'm just talking about two of the worst places, you are breathing that in every day. I'm not saying these things for people to be afraid. I'm not saying these things for people to get exuberantly, afraid of living life. No, that it would make a lot of sense to fast every month. Days. More would be better. If you fast 5-7 days a month, it's not that difficult. One weekend fast from your last meal is Thursday, eat again on Sunday, and then maybe pick the busiest day of your week and say, you know what, on this day. And for those of you who want to get into fasting, it does not make sense for you to start as a person who has never fasted before and then say, I'm a jump day fast. That would make, number one, the toxins that we have in our bodies, they are very dangerous. They are very deadly if you get too much. Obviously, it's not deadly if you have them in you because you're still alive. But my point is this, that when you start trying to bring up too many toxins too fast, you can get sick. And I mean very sick. And also, if there's any of you that are alcoholics or any of you have used drugs, understand you have stored some of that alcohol, you have stored some of those drugs in your fat cells. Those toxins are still in your body. I have had a patient in the past who was a heroin addict. And he came and told me that he met somebody that told he could lose weight very quickly. He wanted to lose about 50, 60 pounds over a 3-month period. And when he came to me, I knew his story. He had been a patient of mine for a while, so I knew that wasn't a good idea. I told him, I said, if you lose weight that fast, I would suggest that you do it methodically because I know you're an ex-drug user and you did drugs for many, many years. For you would dump a lot of those drugs back in your system, and we call it recirculation, like a recirculation pathway that sends those drugs. It kind of goes to the body. The body has a memory of it, and it sends it back into the system. Actually lost that weight. He lost about 30, 35 pounds in about 2 or 3 months. And actually, I take the back in about 2 or 3 months. I didn't see him for a long time. He eventually came back to the office, and he said, man, you were right. I got high and I relapsed. So that the drugs that were in his system, the body had stored those away to protect him. And he tried to do something too fast and was on heroin. Last time I saw him, he was in, but he had kind of, reversed all those years of sobriety that he had. So I'm saying that to those of you who get information and just want to run gung-ho and just dig, that's never the best thing. The best thing is always evaluate what I have, evaluate what I'm doing. How did I get in this condition? And then start slow. For those of you who don't fast, my suggestion is you start with a half a day. If you typically eat breakfast and lunch, if you're going to fast, say, you know what? I'm not going to eat. And when you start getting hungry, some water, take some fruit juice or take some lemon fresh, not some of this garbage that they sell in the stores, some fresh lemonade with some honey or some good sugar in it, and drink that to quell that hunger. And what that also does when you do, pull some toxins out of your tissue, but it's a safer thing. And then once you then say, I'm going to do a whole day. Now prepare yourself, because your sinus perspective of the blood. We have sinuses here. We have sinuses behind the nose. These are called your frontal sinuses. These are called your ethmoid sinuses. I'm sorry, maxillary sinus. Ethmoid sinuses is behind the nose. Let me go ahead and get a picture of it. But when you start to fast, this is what eliminates a lot of the toxin in us that's not good. It eliminates that from our bloodstream. And so the sinus starts to pull your nose and all that snot comes out green or whatever color it may be. Those are toxins that you literally have pulled out of your system, pulled out of the bloodstream. So that is a good thing that's happening, although sometimes you can get what we call postnasal drip. Your throat might be a little itchy. Your vision might get a little blurry. You might have some body aches. You might be irritable, because when you don't feel good, you might just not want people to be around you. You might not want to be around other people. Are the typical steps that you need to go to get yourself to a place where your body is less toxic. And then eventually you'll be able to fast without those things happening. I don't even have those things happen anymore unless I go on like vacation, or like my wife and I just came back off of a cruise not too long ago. And although I did try to eat as healthy as I could on the cruise, when I came back, there were signs that. And so when I fasted after we got out that ship, I had sinus headaches again, but I haven't had those in years. Your body does do a real good job of eliminating the things that cause a lot of these symptoms. But that's part of the routine. That's part of the process. And then those of you who are already fasting, good with that, then what you have to do is start fasting, because although the Honorable Elijah Muhammad mentions in How to Eat to Live that 2 to 3 days of fasting will keep sick, allow you to be sick more than an hour, a couple of hours a year, the solution to that sickness, whether you're eating 1 meal a day and fast, whether you're eating 1 meal every other day, he says you won't get sick but every 3 to 4 years. Well, the solution to that sickness is fasting, because that is the process by which you get all of the toxins, bacteria, and the viruses, all that out of your body. It's the fat that does that, because there's something that we have fallen into a trap in this country and in this American lifestyle that you really don't see, even though they're starting to take on a lot of our habits. But the thing that we have done in this country that is not good is that we think that eating a lot of food is necessary. But I'm here to let you know that that is the exact opposite. The reality is that, now we're talking quality foods. Don't listen to this statement and go eat at McDonald's. And those of you down here in Houston, Timmy Chan's eating some of this garbage food and thinking that you get health. No. When I'm talking about fasting, I'm basing that on that you're eating the best of foods. And we have had that discussion. If this may be your first time coming in, check out some of the other videos where I actually go into some of these, because the best foods are important if you're trying to have good health. But the philosophy that we have to get ourselves to understand is that the less food you eat, the better your health will be. Talking about eating multiple meals a day, 3 meals or more, that will get you the typical American lifestyle. The average age of a person in America is 84 and a half. That's not a lot of life. But that's based on 3 meals again or more. So when we're talking about 84 years, it's like I mention here all the time. I watch people in public. I don't know very many 84-year-old people that are walking around with any type of confidence. I don't know very many 84-year-old people, or maybe none, I don't know any 84-year-old people that have total confidence that they're going to be healthy and not develop any major problems or die anytime soon. I don't know very many people like that. I am trying to live that reality, produce that to people. And so if that is what we community and as a society have as our reality, then how do we change that? We change that by deciphering the information that we're getting and then putting that information to test. And as I sit here in front of you, I am the only person in my family on my father's side or my mother's side that doesn't have a medical problem at my age. Everybody in my family, my siblings, my cousins, my aunties, don't have any more grandparents alive, but all of the people in my family, every single person has a medical problem and take medications except me. I don't know anybody in any of my family, extended or not, that don't have some medical problems. Why am I saying that? I'm not saying that because Brother Keeley wants some pat on the back. No, I'm saying that because I'm trying to do something different, because I know what I studied isn't getting the results or giving the results that I'm looking for. And so that's why I talk about How to Eat to Live so much, because that's what changed the way I practice medicine. And that's what has given me the ability to say that I have any medical problems. And so if you look at the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and How to Eat to Live and decipher it from just a basic perspective, you have to say that the less food you eat, the longer the life. The less food you eat, the better your health will be. The less food you eat, the more you can take diseases, illness, and throw that out of a reality it's not even possible for you. Is what How to Eat to Live is teaching. Long intervals in between eating and no sickness. So if you are dealing with a medical problem, what does he say about that? He says that chronic diseases can be months or years. Of course, it depends on the medical problem and how long it's been going on. There's another statement that he makes in How to Eat to Live, and that is fasting is the cure for 90% of our ailments. Fasting is cure your problems than all the billions of pills and billions of bottles of pills all put together. So what is he talking about? He's talking about an innate reality that is in this body. And so when we just looked at those pictures of those, we look at the picture of the brain, and when you look at it, brain neurons, and you see those, all those cells around there, making sure that those nerve cells are being taken care of. Why? It'd be very similar to looking at the universe that we live. Here it is that you have a sun, that if you were to turn the sun off, all of these planets would stop rotating. If there's any life on them, there's life on all of them, that life would cease to exist. There would be no life on the planet Earth without. So like the brain, the kind of the overall to life in the body, the sun is the overall conduit to the life in our universe. Now think about this. You have a sun, and then you have 9 planets. You have a brain, and you have 9 organ systems. You have a human body that's 7, and then you have an earth that's 75% water. Is it things or happenstance? So again, whether you believe and you say things like, I believe in a God, and you call him whatever name you call him, or you say, you know, I really don't believe in God, I think all of that's foolishness, and you say you believe in a creator, or you believe in evolution, well, something in evolution is pretty wise to produce that reality that has that much congruence. And you can look at the similarity perspective in that this brain, the body's going to die. Turn off the sun, the body's going to die. But also, if you were to take Mars out of the universe, all of the rest of the planets would be affected. Put her out and not mess with any of the other planets, you would cause some serious problems. And so that statement, the cure to our ills, relieve yourself of chronic diseases by eating the right food and fasting, that is a profound reality. Because there's some of you that are listening that have had some organs taken out of your body. Miss Smith, yeah, you know, that pain that you're having is from your gallbladder. And, you know, we saw the ultrasound, and, you know, you have these stones in your gallbladder. I think it would be best for us to take it out. What? I mean, how the philosophy of taking things out of the body? You know, ma'am, you know, you're overweight. You haven't had any children. You didn't breastfeed. You've been taking birth control pills. Your hormones are out of balance. And we found a lump in your breast cancer. We think it would be best for us to remove your breast. That had to be a foolish man that came up with your breast off cancer. And while they want you all to go do some research, and while I'm on this subject, I think next week we're going to do our Transformation Tuesday is going to be on cancer, because there's so many myths and information out there that puts fear in people. I want to try to quell some of that fear. But can you imagine? You've been walking around all your life with two breasts. He decides to take your breast off as a treatment for cancer. They have evidence that that gives you any more life. Right here in MD Anderson in Houston, it's supposed to be the best medical center in the planet Earth, and MD Anderson is supposed to be the best for breast cancer. They only discuss with you 5 years cancer treat, because that's all their statistics give you information on. Women have a recurrence of their breast cancer within 8 to 10 years after they go into remission. Please do yourself a favor and go look up the word remission. That's not necessarily a good word. That's not necessarily house. And then they tell you, you know what? I'm going to be outside, over by that tree in your front yard till I get ready to rob you again. That's a robber in remission. Trying to be a little human to a subject that's so painful. My cousin, who died from breast cancer, and her third bout of it, is what changed my reality in how I practice medicine. Between How to Eat to Live, watching her die in her second bout with chemotherapy and radiation, and having breast cancer time, those were some of the experiences that changed me forever. Chemotherapy and radiation is not necessarily the answer. Sometimes it is. But if your mind is 100% on chemotherapy and radiation because that's all you know, what about getting more information? What about starting to fight it today? If you don't have the diagnosis, start today. How do you do that? Eat the best foods and fast. There is nothing more beneficial for nothing more beneficial into having longevity, right? I keep saying that I don't teach and I don't try to impart information for people today. Yes, I do believe that if you listen to the information that I'm giving you, you will get better today. You'll be better tomorrow. But if you continue to work with the information that I'm giving you in 50 years from now, maybe 100, maybe 150 years, depends on your perspective and how diligent and how dedicated you are to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And I'm trying to accomplish 200 years, sick-free, getting up and doing everything on. And I'm not saying that for any accolades. I'm not saying that to get any rise out of anybody. I'm telling you what I believe. I'm telling you what I believe eating the right foods and fasting will do, not only to your confidence, it will destroy. The reality is that when you have a product and you have something to sell, if you have supplements to give people, or if you have some type of drink that you're trying to put on the market, you can't use words like cure. You can't use words like heal. You can't use words like solve a problem. Well, I'm here to say all those words. I don't have a product to sell. What I'm selling is an idea that I believe came directly from God. What I am doing is basing what I'm saying in God's information. You can find some of that in the Bible, find some of that in the Torah, the beginning of the Bible. But that information, when you use that, you can say God cures, God heals, God solves medical problems. I'm not worried about it. I'm trying to tell you what gives me confidence. I have absolutely zero concern about any medical problem, any cancer, or anything. And if I develop it, I'm going to try the ways that I'm talking to you. Okay, so again, the best foods, we've discussed those. We discussed milk, raw milk, not the milk from the fruit. Please don't let anybody make you think that eating fruit is bad for you. Anybody that says fruit sugar is bad is there's only two possibilities. They're either ignorant or they're a liar. There's no in between. Fruit is some of the best food that you can put in your body. When it comes to vegetables, you should only eat the good vegetables. Shouldn't be putting green leafy vegetables in your. When it comes to nuts, nuts are not digest nuts. Cashews, peanuts, what is other than elephant nuts, almonds, all of these are nuts. What's I'm thinking of right now? But anyway, the things that you can are sunflower seeds. You can eat pumpkin seeds. You can eat flax seeds. All of those should be chewed well, because if you swallow them whole, they'll probably come out of you whole. You have to chew those very, very well. Take your time and chew those, but there are a lot of good nutrients in those. Excellent in the right vegetables, excellent fruits. And so just quickly, your vegetables should be broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, okra, eggplant, green beans, squash. That's a good list of vegetables right there. You should not eat kale. You should not eat Swiss chard. You should not eat turnip greens, collard greens. Those are horrible. Just not good for you. Even though he gives us an allowance to eat those from time to time, you shouldn't eat a lot of spinach. None of the green leafy stuff is good for you. So if you eat those foods that I just mentioned, and you understand how to hydrate yourself, hydrating, as a couple of subjects ago, hydration is when you have some substances with your water. That puts nutrients in the cells. And then you also must drink water. You got to know the difference. You should have an active lifestyle. You should, next to the door of Walmart, right next to the door of Home Depot, right next to the door of your favorite grocery store. Park all the way at the end, way away, and walk. And make that part of your active lifestyle. If you work on the third floor of your job, walk the steps. You don't have to do it fast where you get sweaty, but activate your metabolism. Metabolism increase with eating, it increases with activity. Sleep, you must get rest. And so when I say rest, I'm talking two things. Sleep in the bed, eyes closed, as dark as possible. Sleep with a radio on. Those of you who sleep with a television on. Those of you who sleep with a light on. Those of you who live in like more urban areas and their draperies or your blinds, you should find a way to cover that so that your room is dark as possible. That's when your pineal gland is the most active in producing melatonin. That's when your sleep is in its best and you get into those deep stages of sleep where your body makes the most progress. Sleep. The other aspect of rest is fasting, today's subject. All of this is included because if you're eating bad and fasting, you're not going to get any benefits. You know, and I use building a home as that example, right? Let's say that building a home, you got an interior designer, you got a person that does the floors, you got somebody that does the painting. All these different contractors are standing there waiting for their orders. And then you say, oh yeah, painter, I want you to paint yet. Yeah, electrician, I want you to make sure you wire the house, but we don't have any wires yet. And how about you, roofer? We like you to put the roof on, but we haven't had any of our shingles delivered yet. Yeah, we want you to make concrete yet. That's after eating junk food is like. That's what trying to fast when you have no proper nutrition in the body is like. The body can't do the work that it's made to do unless you have given it the substances that it needs. So having the right type of and preparing yourself for a fast is perfect. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say doing a 3-day fast. It's necessary for everybody to do at least a 2 or 3 day fast. Well, if you're going to do a 3-day fast, you should, at minimum, eat the right type of foods, get the proper water, and getting your proper exercise for the 3 days prior to your fasting, so that your body is prepared to take care of the things that is necessary. When your body, a lot of work, it's fixing a lot of problems. But the rest aspect of it is that you're not digesting, which is one of the hardest things that most people do. I hope that makes sense. And again, I apologize today. I don't know what happened. My messages stopped coming up. So I will get to your questions, although it's not going to be live, but God say the same. This won't happen next week, and I'll be back to answering your question. I apologize for that again today. Excuse me. Today's program was helpful for you. Again, as you work your way towards your health journey and doing that health journey well and improving your health and getting to that place where you're confident. You know, I speak about my confidence in my health, not as I'm something great. I do want you to develop that, saving you by step, subject by subject, week by week, month by month, year by year, is going to take you to being as confident as I am. You know, I just want to say this last thing before we get out today is I had a person that I know send me an article this week. They sent me some video about Dr. Mercola, I think, was having a discussion about the holistic doctors that are found dead mysteriously. Most of the time, it's obvious that it's a murder. You know, you don't have to have any concern from me, because I'm not concerned about that. I believe that what I'm doing is ordained. Many physicians that have come out of medical industry and started doing something different, because it's just not the average thing to do. And I'm thankful that I was given this opportunity. I believe by God. I believe that God put me in this place to give people this type of information that could potentially, if it gets popular enough, destroy the medical industry of this country. I'm not about whether somebody's upset at me, mad at me, and what. I'll let God deal with that one. I got to do my job. So y'all don't be concerned about this holistic physician, because I'm not concerned about anybody coming to kill me. But if they do come and kill me, I expect all of you all to continue the legacy. And I hope my son comes, or my daughter comes, that I have influence over, and they're 10 times at giving you good information and getting more and more and more as you age, and then die taking the same number of pills that you've gotten all these years and nothing is improved. So thank you all for tuning in today. I hope I improves your confidence and also your ability. I will answer all after we end this and I get to them. And of course, come back next week. Well, our subject matter will be cancer. How did it start? How does it manifest itself? How can you on your cancer prevention every day? And how can produce some questions to ask yourself, and some things that you can do to help yourself make it through the process if you already have cancer or you are dealing with it as we speak. So come on back next week. Thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate all of you that are consistently coming back and supporting me. I am here to be able to give you what it is that you're getting from me. Remember, good health takes hard work. It takes diligence. It takes dedication. And it also takes gathering new information. I believe I'm giving you knowledge, also wisdom, because knowledge, after you put it in experimenting it becomes. So keep your health on your mind, on your health. Until next week, continue to fight on your health journey, and come on back with us next Tuesday for the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday. Peace.